Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to USLM Media. This is David Torres, your host, and you're on An Hour with Dave. All right, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. We're back again on the air, An Hour with Dave. And we got an exciting lineup for you today. Very powerful, powerful women. And one gentleman, beside myself, um, to come on the show where we can show how no matter what obstacles you go through, you can succeed. Which brings me to a piece that I want everybody to kind of keep in mind as we're going through this segment because I want you to figure out and see if you can get to where I'm going to be at with these numbers. First number I want you to remember 50 million. The next number I want you to meet that to remember is greater than. The symbol for greater than. Okay? And let me see. And then the last number for the symbol for the lowest. Okay? I want you to the lowest and we'll keep a number of say 3%. Okay? So, with this said, well, one of our special guests here, Christina Santiago.
Cynthia.
Cynthia Santiago. Believe it or not, I've known her almost all my life. And she is from the neighborhood, from the hood, grew up here, can't get more obstacles than what this young lady's been through. And she has climbed up the mountain, down the mountain, and up again and down. And she's back on top. And let me tell you, if you could take half of her energy and put it to work, you can make. So this segment is for all the women out there that think it's hard to make it. Yes, it is. Is it impossible? Hell no. So say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, David. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation.
Yeah, and it's fun here. Tell everybody, and I'm gonna have to try to egg it out of her because, she's not shy, but this is her first radio shot. So I think she is it your first time?
This is my second one,
Your
actually.
second one
Yes,
actually, and you're still nervous.
it's an exciting kind of nervous. It really is. It's excitement and nervousness at the same time.
Well, you're from the neighborhood,
I am.
locally, right?
Yes,
Family business,
yes,
family oriented, family values,
absolutely.
Christian values.
Absolutely.
Okay, and tell them a little bit about your past.
Well, I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I grew up in North Philly, the 2400 block of Fairhill Street. I was 5 years old when my parents moved there. And I come from a background of mom, dad, three sisters, and we were very close, tight knit Latino. You know those values, the ethical perspective, and I came from an entrepreneurial background. My father uh, came from Puerto Rico to Pennsylvania, and he started working as many did in the blueberry farms. And fortunately for him, he was a visionary and he worked and struggled, but he made it. He was able to save his money. He came into money, and his passion was to have his own business, which came to fruition. And he was able to purchase Julio's 501 bar, which was at the corner of Fairhill and York.
Hmm, sounds familiar.
Uh, that's how we met.
And then from there, as you went to school, public school
No, I
or
did not.
Catholic school?
I went to Catholic school. I went to
Okay,
St. Edward's 7th in York.
okay,
And after I graduated 8th grade, I went to Hallahan High School, all girls high school.
okay. And I'm trying people to get her close to where you're gonna see how far she's gotten because did you do college?
I started college, but it was more of a social experience. I never finished, but
Hmm.
the lessons that I learned were greater than that diploma.
and and
So
and then here it starts. Here's where I want you to see. Then you joined the police, the SEPTA police.
I did. Prior to that, I was I always had a passion for uh, social work. Uh,
Hmm.
when I decided to go to college, I went to Westchester State, started there, and I majored in political science, public administration. I wanted to be an attorney. That was my passion in dealing with people. Uh, of course, I didn't finish. So after I left, I found a couple jobs, ultimately ending up with the city of Philadelphia. I was a legal secretary for the claims division in the law department under the claims division. And I worked there for 7 years. And after that, I felt sort of stagnant because I've always, like my dad, I have vision. And my purpose was, for me, was greater just to find myself. And a friend of mine inspired me because she was a police officer. She says, "Why don't you join the police department?" And ultimately, I did not make it through Philadelphia police. However, I tried for SEPTA police, and the rest is history.
Yeah, because you actually retired from SEPTA police.
After 30
The
years,
30th, but here comes the kicker, guys. Latino, Latina, female, um, at that time in the SEPTA police was rare. And you were not just a police officer, you made it up in the ranks,
I did.
right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I uh,
And
I
she's getting
retired.
teary eyed
I
over here with
know.
everybody. You know there's a camera watching you, right?
No. Oh my goodness.
Just to let you know. But she made it up there. She was the only female, I believe, Latina, the high rank.
I started in 1989 and I retired November 1st
Beautiful.
as the first female commander, Latina Puerto Riqueña, for
That's
SEPTA
beautiful.
Police.
Talk
Yes.
about power. Talk about coming up from the roots and struggling and digging your way out. And look at this, ladies. Look at what she did. Look where she's at, and she has not stopped. Cause here it comes. She retired, and now you are.
After retirement, I knew that I wanted to give back to the community, and the opportunity came up to get involved with energy. And I'm high energy, I'm fast paced, I have this, so it is so poetic for me. Anyway, so back in 2014, an acquaintance of mine introduced me to uh, energy. Since energy was deregulated, he
Mhm.
asked me to become a part of it. I did. I never really did anything with it because there was uh, I was working full time, so I really couldn't. I got my LLC. I was able to get an LLC, and because my father, and the reason why I called it, my LLC is called Santiago's Energy Supply Solutions LLC. And I named it Santiago because I wanted to honor my father, my name, Santiago. My father was murdered in front of his business. So I wanted
Sorry.
to continue that legacy. So, yes, I am the first female that's involved here locally and possibly nationally, statewide, definitely, to have energy supply solutions and eventually brokering the first female minority owned energy brokerage company.
Woo! How's that? How's that for making it come back, huh? Now, I'm telling you, it's amazing. Your story is, it should be inspiring women of all races, women of all creed, color, and just to know that if you really got to know her, you will love her because I'm telling you, I've known her for years, and what you're hearing now is truly her. she's always been like this. She's always been up. She's always been looking at the positive side of things. She's always been um, trying to help those. Never had a negative time. Not to help anybody, giving anybody a hard time. But um, I got to say that listen to the story. Now let's talk about your business. Um,
I'm excited
what
about
what
that.
you're excited? You've been getting it together here, right? You're
I
ready
have.
to open up. Are you just in Philadelphia right now?
Well, just to give you a little bit of background, and I wrote something that I wanted to share with you
Go ahead.
so that people could get an idea of the energy industry, which is a billion-dollar industry. Billion dollar.
Are you ready to tell us right now? To read it right now, or
It's up to you. Yeah, I could
go
do it
ahead.
right now.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so Santiago's Energy Supply is a woman-owned, obviously, and minority-owned company. The business started because of the awareness that the utility industry, which is a billion-dollar industry, was taking advantage of the minority community by not providing necessary information to consumers in an effort to help them make informed decisions when it came to their utility monthly expenses. In 2005, President Bush signed the Energy Policy Act that transferred the regulation of utilities from the Securities and Exchange Commission to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Once energy was deregulated, small energy companies were now able to compete with the major players. The amount of monies that were available to be made was in the millions of dollars. Knowing that energy is one of consumers' largest monthly expenses, these companies went out to their target markets, which were residential. They also went to commercial and industrial businesses. Unfortunately, these companies took advantage of the uninformed consumer. Promises were made to reduce their energy costs. However, these promises were never kept. Businesses were entered into contracts without the owner's knowledge of full disclosure. Part of the full disclosure was to assist in explaining the contractual agreement in order to obtain the greatest savings. The promises were not fulfilled and causing the consumer to initially save but confronted with exorbitant costs in the long run. Because of this lack of disclosure, my mission became to provide the consumer with creative and innovative solutions to small business and large scale businesses, and doing so with the highest standard of consumer or customer service in an effort to create a better world for them. Santiago's realized how financially compromised the small businesses were, and the idea was birthed to provide custom tailored and cost effective solutions to our clients by doing business differently. That's what I wanted to do. I want to do business differently. Our goal is to help our clients increase profitability by providing diverse and creative cost saving alternatives and solutions in an effort to ease their obligations, their financial obligations through life essential services in their areas of energy. That's my primary goal. I mean, focus energy, but also janitorial and also insurance, general insurance.
All
Uh,
right.
we
Beautiful.
we're excited because it's a service that we want to provide the community. Aside from the business part of it, it's educating and informing the consumer so that they can make informed decisions. It's not always about the dollar. For me, anyway, it's not about the dollar. It's about empowering our community.
Well, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm sure we got attention of a lot of people out here right now because, a lot of times people wonder why. Why is my electric bill so high? What's my gas bill so high? How come I got some water bill so high? And they don't understand the ins and outs. And then there's people that are on the CAP program. But what I want to get you to start explaining to people the difference on sets of how the energy services work, how you get to save them money, what's the differences? Because you know what, you're right. The public doesn't get but a little bit of told a little bit of what actually is going on, and then when you get government regulations involved and you get city regulations involved, and then you got the cap program and they're getting paid for in your bill from this end and they're getting paid for that end, and then something goes wrong and all of a sudden the person on cap looks at and says, "Oh, I don't have my cap anymore," and bingo, here comes a $3,000 bill. Well, you know, we're gonna take a break in 2 minutes here. But then when we come back, I want you to explain to the people how it is that you're saving the money and how the ins and outs of what but the different bills are, because it confuses people.
Absolutely.
It scares people, and we had enough going on scaring people out here with this. There's enough going on with people giving half stories and part stories and such bullshit. It's unbelievable. But I want you to clarify for my audience exactly what's going on, how they can save, how did you come to this? How can they grow with you? Can they actually work for you? Can they actually do things? Or you're planning on having employees and maybe you can, nurture people into thinking about growing into their own businesses. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Um, so, people, we're gonna come back, um, and then we're gonna have her get into a little more details. And I'm telling you, you're gonna open up your eyes. Get yourself a cup of coffee, sit back, so that you can say, "Huh, this is what these suckers were doing all this time." And how they were getting over. But it's important. So come back on that next segment, and get ready to be wild, um, and with information, so that next time they call you on the phone or they knock on your door,
Yep.
you are actually aware of whether or not they're legit, they're conning you, or it's going to cost you and not save you. So I'll see you back here in a minute.
Thank you.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
All right, everybody. I hope you're sitting down. You got your cup of coffee, your soda. Didn't invite any of us over here to have a cup of coffee and a soda, but that's okay. Um, and your kids are studying at home, and you've gotten the time and you need to relax. And now we're going to have her give you some information on how to save. But prior to that, I also want to introduce Stephen Jackson.
Yes.
All right. Stephen, you are working with her. Am I correct?
We are
Or together?
partners.
Yes.
You are partners.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And here is where I want to talk to people. And this is my point for what I'm doing. You got a Spanish Latino woman. You got African American gentleman. You got a Spanish gentleman here. Even though sometimes I look at my family, they're all short, I'm tall. I think maybe I was adopted, but that's beyond the point. Um, but I want to show and let people know that even through the pandemic, even through all the bad news, even through the school closing, church closing, and the whole nonsense of what's going on, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm saying light, I could say light at the end of the tunnel because we got somebody over here with electricity.
Love it. Yes.
But Steve, give us a brief how you got into this. What's up?
Well, I took early retirement at 57.
From?
After 25 years in the pharmaceutical industry, pharmaceutical sales, advertising as well, but mainly pharmaceutical sales. So I retired December 31st of last year, just before the world came screeching to a halt. But in a way, it's like
A little closer.
I retired because I wanted to, while I'm still young and healthy, to explore some new directions and really embrace entrepreneurial spirit and helping others as well. And so Cynthia and I met because we have those similar interests as well. And it was an instant bond. I mean, definitely somebody that I wanted to work with, and I do share her vision. And just very excited. Just like you were saying, we're in the pandemic. Everything got really quiet, and then a lot of crazy things started happening. But I think it's so important, particularly times like this, to have that beacon of light. And that's what we aim to provide by giving people an ability to make their lives better, and also providing a service and to really get a sense of community and interconnection that I think sometimes gets lost in modern life.
That's beautiful because I'm gonna tell you, people, you have two examples here of two individuals, kind of different styles, different lives. One's a police officer, one's pharmaceutical. Now they've come together, and there's always a way to get ahead. There's always a way. If you have faith, if you listen to your heart, if you pray, and if you pay attention and don't listen to the knuckleheads out there, especially you women, you young ladies, don't listen to the knuckleheads with their pants below their ass. Okay? If they can't afford a belt, they can't afford to take care of you, and they got nothing to give you. Okay? So I keep harping on that every time I get a chance, but it's you got to listen, okay? Because they got nothing to offer you. The guys on the corner have nothing to offer you. Look at a guy that gets there at 5 o'clock carrying his lunchbox still, or the guy that gets up in the morning and goes to work, or the guy. And look at this young lady, this young man next to me now. They are an inspiration, and that's what your goals got to be. Guys, explain to people, how is it that they save money? What's the difference in your program as opposed to CAP, as opposed to Philadelphia Electric, as opposed to, if I'm a businessman, what are you telling me? And then you could explain if I'm a resident. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, as you know, that PICO was formerly Philadelphia Electric Company, and they were founded in 1881, and they were incorporated in 1929, and they were the service provider, the electric providers for, let's say, in our area, Philadelphia. There's two parts to the energy company. There's this transmission portion of it, which is partly the technical part of it, the lines, the bill part of it, anything technical. There's a transmission part of it. And Steve, if I missed something, you can join in,
Certainly.
because I just want to let everyone know that I'm learning as I go, and that's the beauty of endeavoring into something different, embracing a challenge. So energy, I knew nothing of energy, but it came to me. I saw an opportunity, and for the young ladies that are out there that are wondering, what do I do with myself? What's my purpose? Seek deep within. You'll find your purpose. Just go for it. Have that intention that you will find it. Energy came to me. I saw the opportunity. I knew nothing of it, but guess what I did? I started researching. I started reading up on it, and it was so poetic for me. So, with that said, PICO is the provider. They're the transmission, and the supply energy is where the consumer is affected when it comes to savings. So, PICO was generating electricity. It wasn't until December 31st, 2010, they stopped generating electricity and then subcontracted to suppliers. So,
Okay, so let me see if I not confused up to now. So they basically don't produce their electricity anymore. So they're purchasing the electricity is what you're saying over somebody else, or they're subcontracting it in and allowing it to come through their lines.
so what happens? Like Pico was the
Is that an
supplier.
interesting question or?
No, it's you're just trying to clarify. That's all.
Yeah.
No, Pico, they're suppliers that generate electricity. So they get the electricity from the suppliers. For example, since Pico no longer generates, they go to their sister company, which is Constellation, who now supplies the energy to the consumer. But there are hundreds of energy suppliers. And
Okay.
that's where deregulation comes in, because the way that the consumer, be it residential or commercial, this is how they save. What happens is we get the bill, we get a business bill, and everything is based off of kilowatts. And this is why it's important for the consumer to be educated. You get a bill, and what often happens, and this is why the consumer uh, pays higher than they have to, because they don't know how to read a bill. Who's there to help them read a bill? So the supply portion of it is determines the amount that you pay based on usage, the kilowatt usage, be it residential or commercial.
Hmm.
Yes, what you're saying is entirely correct. And one way that we are able to provide additional savings is that we have relationships with some of the energy suppliers, and we're able to package the energy in one one particular bid for the suppliers to bid on supply.
One bundle.
One bundle. So if they are bidding on a bigger bundle, they're going to be more inclined to lower their prices. And most residential and oftentimes sometimes commercial providers just know that the bill comes in and they just pay it. They look at that as a fixed overhead in life, but there really are some good strategies to provide additional savings.
All right, well, now let me ask you this: like you're talking about the bundles, and she says all the suppliers, do they compete with each other on how much they're going to charge for the electricity that they produce?
There's a standard, and based on the contract or the customer. Let's say, for instance, uh, I'm looking at your backdrop, which is beautiful, by the way. It's lit up with beautiful lights. Let's say Hahnemann Hospital. We get their bill, and that information is then entered into a database that is given, or that's supplied to the suppliers. So the suppliers are able to see what you're inputting and what they'll bid. They'll compete for that contract.
Mm.
Now, when we put together a bundle that's large enough, the larger the bundle, the more competition we create. And then there are times we can put together a very large bundle where you're really able to go into another whole bidding process which gives us a lot more power when they are auctioning to see who's going to be the supplier.
Okay, so if when you start out and you're signing up Juanita and Lupe and Jose and all the guys that are out there in their little grocery stores, as you grow, is it a point where as you grow where it changes their bill? It could be reduced or increased depending on the size of the number of stores or clients you have.
Well, yeah, certainly. It What we do is we try to get within a certain time window as many individual accounts as possible to that one bid.
Gotcha.
And once that bid is done, and if everyone agrees on accepting the price, then they are in that particular, they get that price benefit for the length of the contract.
Okay.
I know, and also we're very clear on how the energy is offered. If there is, say, such a contract where the price was fixed for 6 months, but then goes into variable afterwards, then people can really get hurt financially
Right.
because the price could go way up. So it's our responsibility to make sure that the consumer does know when the variable rate would approach. So we will let them know in advance so they can make an informed decision on what to do.
So your customers are, do they, am I understanding right that they have a time period that they're contracted with you? Like, let's say if you signed me up,
Right.
you sell our radio, and you sign us up here. Um, then we say, or my home, and we say, okay, well, I'm on for 6 months. What happens after 6 months?
Okay. Well, essentially,
Do I re up? Do I contracts over? Can I go back to
it's
Pico?
up to the consumer. It's up to you. Now, if it was variable to begin with, then it's just a higher rate. Um, um, or I'm sorry. Well, the variable is it could be a slightly lower rate, but it's open to price fluctuations
Right.
right away. Whereas if it's a fixed contract, you have more protection for gradual price fluctuations because I know that typically there is a new price adjustment about every 3 months, and if you are at a variable rate at that stage, then you could really be open to a significant difference in your price. And if you're just doing like many others do, where you just pay your bill but you're going on with everything else in life, you could end up losing money without even realizing it for a while.
Right, right, right,
And the
right.
beauty, David, is that once we submit the information for the analysis, that's the initial step. We get the bill and we submit it to the broker, who then submits it to the suppliers, and then they produce an analysis of maybe 2 to 3 companies that would be interested in supplying your needs. And you choose. We don't choose. You make the decision whether, and it's up to, you can do from 6 months to 36 months. So you
Okay.
have the flexibility that if you say, well, listen, if the kilowatts are at 6.5 for 6 months, you can do it for 6 months, and it shows you there. If you stay for 36 months, you might get it at a reduced rate. You're guaranteed that for those 3 years, you're at the lowest rate.
Okay.
Because
All right.
remember, it's variable, and that's why people's bills, they fluctuate high. And that was the problem when people came knocking on the door. They did not explain to the consumer the variable portion of it. And what they did was they would give cards, gift cards, to entice people to join without really explaining the process. We explain the process. We walk the client, the customer. We ask questions. And what's unique about us, Santiago's, is that we have a physical office. So if the customer is interested, they can come, knock on our door, and we're here to service them.
Whoa. So yeah. So but the bill could go up and down because just because they sign with you and they agreed to doesn't mean we can't leave the lights on all night and Christmas lights and because your bill's gonna go up. Obviously, you use more.
Well, I would say, I mean, you still want to do your normal um, economic behavior,
Right.
but certainly uh, if if somebody already has a great rate, why leave all the lights on? It's
No, I'm just saying because some people like might say, oh, you know what, I get my electricity cheap. I'm gonna leave my thing on all night long. That don't matter.
well,
Let me run my
it's
air
up to the
conditioner
consumer.
extra month.
If they want to do it, that's up to them.
Yeah.
I mean, but keep in mind, we always give them the choice when they do accept our service, um, which company they get to choose, which rate they get to choose,
Mm-hmm.
and if they want to choose to leave their lights on all night, more power to them.
Yeah, because I can see myself just sitting back saying one day, do I want to go downstairs and shut off that light I forgot to turn off?
Yeah.
I got it cheaper now. I'll get in the morning when I go out to make my coffee.
David, that defeats the purpose. The purpose is to save, especially in this climate. On a serious note, we are in a tough situation economically.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could, and that's the beauty of our company, it's about educating the client, the consumer, to make smart decisions with their finances, and not just only with electricity. There's so many other components. We also do natural gas, and at some point solar is in our horizon
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
And when you get all those services bundled together, that's where you see the greater savings. And those monies, then we can help you with ideas on how to use those savings to now increase for long term, which I think there's a deficit, or there's a deficiency in economic empowerment to our Latino based and
Right.
black and brown people. As we say, it's important to empower. And that's why we connect, Stephen and I connect, because of our vision, because of our desire to give back to the community, to empower the
Well,
community.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, Want to touch on CAP. If a person's on a CAP program, businesses don't go on a CAP program, do they?
No,
No.
not that I'm
No.
aware of. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
But people get on CAP, and then if they can't join your programs if they're on CAP, or can they?
They cannot. No,
They're
because
locked in.
yeah, they're locked in.
Okay, they're locked in. But see, CAP is not where you're getting a low rate. CAP is like you're gonna pay less now, but the rest of it is put on the
It's
back
true.
end, right?
It's so. I'm glad you mentioned that because it's not true cost savings.
Right.
With us, if you're getting a lower rate, you know exactly what you're getting, and there's no trailing things like Cap has. So
All right. When we get back and onto the last segment, we're gonna talk a little bit about the CAP, and then we're gonna see how we can reach these two individuals, where their office is at, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and maybe go through some marketing strategies with them to help them boost their stuff up. So make your quick runs. Don't invite us again for coffee because I know you don't want to. And we should be taking a break, and we're gonna come back. What is it? 1 minute break? Because that's all they let me do here. I tell you, these guys are tough. These young guys are really, really tough. They don't realize I got a 62-year-old bladder, but okay. Talk to you in a few.
okay.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it. Thank you, Miss Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
All right, everybody. All right, we're going to the last segment here, and you know that we got these two young men, young lady and young man, in the office here, and they're giving you a lot of helpful information. Now, let's finish up on the cap piece if you can, because remember, they're not cap. That's the city, and I'm telling you, if you're on a cap system, it's not like you're getting your bill cheap or cheap gas. Somewhere along the line, you're gonna have to pay the piper, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay, so people on cap cannot use your program.
No, they cannot. And if they chose to get off of cafe, also just like you were saying, they need to realize that they may owe a lot of money from that cost savings that wasn't really saving, it was just cost transferred to the back end of the bill.
How about light heat? You don't do nothing with the light heat, right? Okay, because I know light
No.
heat helps you pay a chunk of your back bill too. But listen, guys, if you're thinking about it and you want to make a choice, you may want to check with your electric company to see where your bill is at. The actual bill, not the $22 or 30 or 40 or $50 a month. What is it that you owe? Okay, because these two individuals will not guide you wrong. Because I know them, and they've been around for a long time, and they're not going to cheat you, so they're not going to guide you wrong. But your office.
Our office is we're newly moved in and we're still going under renovations, but it's at 2901 North Front Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
Ooh.
19133. And we're also there sharing an office with Mi Negocio Business Solutions, which is also a separate service that the proprietor, Jacqueline Negron Vera, owns. And she provides services to the community in the areas of financial services, tags, deeds. She also helps with immigration services. Anything that has to do with financial services, she is the person to speak with because she has over 25 years of experience and she's about the community.
Well, we may need to ask this young lady to come on board and talk about her program.
Yes.
But now on marketing, how do you market yourself right now?
The way
Are you
that
doing
we
anything?
market, it's really this is one of the avenues, and thank you for inviting us because we're
Well,
we're
you got
new.
pool. You got pool. You just got somebody up here. You got pool. What can I say?
Listen, you
You
never
know.
know who you meet. We engage people. It's it's marketing, it's networking. Uh, you never know. You're sitting next to someone in a doctor's office, and that's how I do it. It's
Do
about
you
engaging
have a
people.
website already set up for your office?
We're working on our website
Okay,
now.
okay.
Yeah, but if
Well, you-
anyone's interested, my email is Cynthia at santiagosenergysupply.com. And yeah, we're working on the
Maybe
website.
maybe what you do is when you get your website up and you set up. Maybe you should set up. I'm a marketing person, so
Oh,
Great.
excellent.
So we
maybe
can use your
you should-
services?
maybe you should set up in-house um, trainings and informational trainings.
Oh, absolutely.
You could use churches. I know plenty of churches you can go to
Excellent.
across the entire segment of Philadelphia. There's certain organizations you can go to and do like a training seminar where you can literally explain to people, what it is you do.
Yes.
And I'll give you a hint. You need to have some kind of visual because people can listen to you, but they tend nowadays to gash down at the phone and they
Right.
speak to the other guy. Hey, what did he say? Carajo. What's the guy talking about?
Makes sense.
So you have a visual, you have shots, different views, different scans. That attracts a lot of people. And home visits. I used to sell. I had a sales team. They sell health insurance, and I was director of several health insurance companies. And I used to tell them you can have home visits where you could have people come in and you have maybe 4 or 5 neighbors or family members sitting in one spot.
Right.
And you go in and you explain to them on a quiet tip. And I used to have meetings that I used to hold for the community for business people.
Excellent.
And,
Excellent.
and you bring them in. And what you do is you get your website and your Facebook and every other thing you want to do. And you let me know when it's up and ready and you're doing it. And I'll be more than glad to announce it here that you were here and what was going on. And this is your website. This is what look at the schedule. If you want to come in as a business group, these are the times that they're going to have open sessions. Call in, have a seat reserved, and you come in and talk to people.
We'd love to do it.
Amazing.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you so much.
Definitely, thank you for
Uh,
that because since we're fairly new, we're
Yeah.
learning as we go as well, and
Mhm.
the relationships that we're garnering, it's amazing.
I mean, what you have to offer is an amazing advantage to any business person should be listening to you. Any business person that's using gas and electric, and anybody who's a homeowner that's been thinking or the concept of getting solar energy. These are people that should be paying attention to you right now. I don't see any business owner unless they're just looking to make the money and they don't have the concept of how they're gonna save themselves. Should not be going to a group session that you have meetings in.
Right.
And you get your flyers out, you get your marketing out. Trust me, you have a lot to offer. You have a lot of things going on. I think that your business is beautiful. You two make a great partnership. And I'm going to tell you, this young lady is fire.
She is. 100%.
She's great. I've known her. I can't even count the years.
Like 40 years at least, like 40 years. We came from he lived around the block.
Right, right.
Him and his wife, yeah, they would patronize my dad's bar, and that's the beauty of establishing relationships, and that's what we want. Our vision is that my company, Santiago's Energy Supply, is your company.
Mhm.
It's an us. It's a oneness. It's unity, unifying the community with our company so that they could feel a sense of ownership, that they know that it's not just about the bottom line. It's
Yeah.
about establishing those relationships that will,
And let me tell you that through my experience, now I can open up my closet and put Botany 500 suit on, and be like the next guy that comes into the building and everybody goes, ooh, that nice suit, look at them shoes. But I find it that when you go to the community and you're yourself
Yes.
and you don't try to over impress them and you just be real, man, you're received wildly. Because in the African American and the Latino community, we're a loving community.
Really
We're an
are.
open community till you steer us wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Then the comeback is hard or impossible. But we may forgive you, but not forget.
right.
But you could do that. You have a lot to offer. A lot to offer. I'll support you 100%. I'll be more than glad. I have other avenues that I'll open up to use
Wow. Thank you
um,
so much.
to help you out, to get your message out, and if you can, get your licenses in other states because
Yes.
this alone here is 35 states.
Wow.
you're
Oh,
talking to.
wow. And one of the things that I wanted to share with the public is that the energy has been deregulated in 14 states, which means that we can conduct business in 14 states because our supplier, the one that we're, gearing to work with, is Enerworld. So they have tons of suppliers. So it's like from the the northeast to Texas. We can
Wow.
conduct business commercially in Texas, in Maryland, in Maine.
Do you want to
in-
slap them with a number that they can reach you at, or a business
Absolutely.
number? Let's do it real slow. Everybody get a pencil and pen.
Okay, our number is 215 479 2624. 215 479 2624. Someone will gladly answer your call. And if we're that busy, leave a message and we will get back to you as soon as possible because you are our primary concern.
Now, the last trick question here: if people are in other states and you got your main office is here, how do they team up? How do they become part of your team? How does that work? Are you ready to bring on other team members, or How does this work?
Those are business opportunities that are open. We have connections in Atlanta, Georgia. We had someone that we were connected with in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have a connection in New York City and Texas.
Okay, let me ask you this. So if I have a bunch of people, do you have New York?
New York.
Yes.
You have New York.
We have New York.
Okay. New Jersey.
Yes.
New Jersey. Yeah. Oh man. Delaware. No, you can't. Don't get happy because you can't leave.
And David, for those, since we're starting out now, but we have a plan that at some point, once we're up and running, the business opportunities for those that are looking to join a team that are visionaries, that's looking for universal opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
The sky energy is the limit with us. So it opens the door for so many opportunities.
So young people here can start here with you, become affiliated with you, become into the company, get a hold of the company, and then move on to one of the states that you're able to do sales in, or
Absolutely.
states that open up
we
later
welcome
on.
you. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Wow. Do you guys catch what you got here? Does anybody? I hope everybody's paying attention because this is an opportunity that you're not going to get all the time. And I'm telling you that even with everything going on today, don't you still get an electric bill? Don't you still get a gas bill? Do you still have to eat? Come on, guys. Listen to what these two people are offering. Open it up because you could be starting to do this right from where you're sitting at home while your kids are doing their homework.
And I'm proud to be Latina.
There you go.
It's an opportunity that otherwise would not have been afforded to us. So to be one of the first female-owned, minority-owned energy brokerage companies, as one of our long-term goals, that's major. And that's major because of the opportunities that we'll be able to offer our community at large, not only locally, but nationally, because at some point, energy will be deregulated. But my vision is Puerto Rico.
Wow.
At some point,
Yes.
I have my eye on Puerto Rico because things
Hopefully
are changing.
they can get their grids up.
Hey, it's going to happen. It has to
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of politics involved as well, but we're up for the challenge because my father, Julio Santiago, he prepared me for the challenge.
Wow.
There you go. There you go. All right, everybody. These were two beautiful guests. I want to thank them for coming out. We're getting ready to close in our segment. So in the last 2 minutes, I started the segment by giving you three things. 50 million, less than, and a low number of 3%. I wanted to tell you what these things are. You got November 3rd coming up, a very important election. I don't want to hear anybody say, I am just a Democrat or I am just a Republican. Because if that's just what you are, you're just an idiot. You're worse than one. They came out and called us deplorables, okay? Because this election is very, very, very important. And right now, the 50 million number, if you're a Christian, there's been over 50 million abortions done in this country since it became legal. 50 million babies torn out of the wombs of their mother, piece by piece by piece. And if you don't do something about it, you're as guilty as the one performing the abortion. You need to stand up. You need to stay. Now, I'm not saying about women who are raped or women who are abused or incest. No, I'm talking about the people who just think it's a joke to keep going out and having abortions. Okay? You got to think about these things. All right? Greater than, less than. I want you all to do homework. There's a particular state. I'm not giving you the state because I want you to do it. Where more babies were aborted than were given to birth. That's a sickening thought, and it's minority childs that this is happening to. So that means black and brown people. And the lower number that I was talking about, 3%, before this pandemic hit, is where Trump had this country. It was the lowest unemployment for blacks, Hispanic, women was the highest number in them having businesses, and the country was booming. November 3rd's coming. Don't look at it as a party. Do your research and vote properly. You got no excuse if you went the wrong way and you know what hits the fan. God bless my people. Love yous all. See you next Thursday.
Thank you, David.